Hi, in this tutorial I'm gonna show you how to use as from sensing block in Scratch, and also I will teach you how to use variables with this as block and why we need variables in this situation. So we use as block here to get an input from user. Let's say I wanna get an input from user about number. Okay, I wanna make a simple calculator, so I need two numbers here. So input number one. All right, so this is my first question, input number one, and I need one more as block here to ask the user input number two. Input number two. Okay, so if you see here below as block, we have answer with check mark here, check, to show what is inside of the answer. Every time when we answer the as block, the answer will be inside, will be entered in this answer variables. It's like variable, okay, but it's not literally a variable, but it's a special variable, I guess, okay, created by Scratch. All right, next is the main feature of our program. Okay, so we need operators. Let's say I want to make the addition feature, input number one plus with number two. Here's the question: how do you get the input number one and input number two? That's what we want to solve. Okay, if you try to run your program now, I need green flag click, so I can play or execute the code every time I click the green flag. Click. Okay, so the program now waiting for me to input number one. Okay, my number one, 10. Okay, and after I input number one, then the value will be entered to answer. Now it's time for number two. Let's say 5. Okay, so our task now is to use these operators plus, okay, so 10 plus with 5 to generate the result 15. So that's the problem. If you see here in my answer, 10 value as a result of my number one value replaced by answer number two. So do you get my point? 10 is replaced by 5. Okay, so we need we need other alternative way to store 10 to some other place. Okay, so we can keep the value and combine it with answer number 2. That's why we need variables to store the first answer and the second answer, so we can put it into these operators. Alright, so let's try to make a variable. This is number one, just an example. Number two. Now after I got input number one, I will set number one, switch the option to the answer I got from the first as block. So that's why we go to sensing again and take answer, put it into number one variable. We do the same thing again, go to variables, set variable, and now we change or switch the option to number two variable. What about this? What should we fill in this area, this blank? So we do the same thing, we get the answer. okay, or take it from sensing, so we can get the answer from the as or the second as block. Alright, so let's try to play the program. Input number 1, 10. See here, 10 will be entered to my number 1 variable, and input number 2, 5. Now we get two numbers now with features of variable. Number 1 is 10, the value of number 1 is 10, and value number 2 is 5. After that, after we know number 1 value and number 2 value, we will use the operator, and to show the value or the result of the calculation, we need something to give the output. So we can use looks say to show the output. Okay, so we'll put this plus to say. Now we can go back to the variable to use number 1 plus with number 2. There you go. Let's try to play the program again. 10 and 5. That's it. We get 15 as the result of number 1 plus with number 2. Once again, to recap what we have so far. So we use as to get an input from the user. We use variable to store the value, keep the value so we know the previous value and the current value. And the last step is we use say to give the output to the screen area here with operators, so we can use number 1 plus with number 2 to show the result. That's it. Thank you very much.